The year is 3025, or a few years before. This is the inner sphere, that little red dot. That is a 500 light year radius sphere of human settlement. In 3025, the inner sphere looks like this. There are no clans. It's 5 great houses plus a few periphery states that are the fallout from the fall of the Star League. Technology has degraded significantly since the 2750 era when the Star League was at its peak, and now mechs are running out of spare parts, and many have stopped functioning, never to run again. Today we're going to go have a custom Battletech scenario, a battle report. This is about an ambush on a remote world called Bone Norman in the 3025 era, the end of the Third Succession War, whereas the Lyran Commonwealth and the Draconis Combine are busy fighting it out. And deep in the periphery of the Lyran Commonwealth, i.e. House Steiner, in this remote corner, there is a world called Bone Norman. Now, this is a very remote world. Doesn't have much to speak for. It has a moon called Devil's Pinch that creates horrendous tides and wind. In fact, it's so remote that even Sarna doesn't have a map for the region in the 3025 era. So this is like the Jihad and Dark Age map that has Bone Norman shown here. This is when Jade Falcon took over the area. So I'm going to have to look in some old vintage Steiner source material to find information on this place. So here it is, and where is it? I can't find it initially. I'm looking here, so I'm going to have to look in the index. Like in the back of these old vintage books, there's this star map list. Whereas we have, here's Bone Norman. Let's find it. And I think I can find it here. And yes, I think I found it. There's actually a whole theater called the Bone Theater, possibly named after Bone Norman. There it is. It's like the extreme periphery. Here's the solar system for Bone Norman. It's the second planet. It's with the one with the purple moon. So if you were to jump in, this is what it would look like. It's a moderately regular planet, but just a little bit backward, low population, because it has an extreme wind and harsh tides. There's 2 continents. There's a large continent and a small continent. But this battle is going to occur in the middle of nowhere on Bone Norman, in a small ruins of possibly a Star League research center. Now, there are some trees in the area. These are called werewillows, and these generate artificial radar signatures. And that is the crux of this battle and this mission, and why it even occurred in the first place. Now, after a local weather drone detected a strange radar signature in pretty much the middle of nowhere, the son of the local governor, who pilots the only mech on the planet, which is an Archer that's a few hundred years old and has been well maintained but has lost a lot of its original Star League tech, goes out and takes the family mech out to go check out this spurious signal. Now, this is particularly interesting because this signal appears to be in the middle of what looks like some buildings and structures that have been abandoned something from the Star League era. There's no record of it, so it's interesting because it looks like a possible vehicle signature in the middle of these ruins. Perhaps it's an old lost tech air car or something else that might have some lost tech, perhaps some chips or something intact in it that could be extracted. Something that famous could put Bone Norman on the map again and make the place famous, so it's worth it to check it out. Unfortunately for the governor's son, this is actually an assassination attempt by House Kurita, knowing that they could probably lure out the son of the governor in the mech with something this tantalizing. Kurita knew about the old research station, partly because Kurita burned this planet down a few hundred years earlier in one of the battles on the earlier succession wars. So Kurita has set up this ambush and this trap. The map is very small. It's only 4 hexes wide and roughly 12 hexes long. The archer starts off walking down this urban area, and the hetzer is hiding behind a building out of line of sight. And also there is an elite jump squad with jump packs and anti-mech training that's hiding in a building. And their plan is to knock down the archer, possibly cut open the cockpit and pull the pilot out. And if the pilot's alive, maybe they'll torture him, or maybe they'll just kill him. And if the pilot's dead, well, then they'll just kind of parade him around on hyperpulse generator net to show off how good Kurita's assassination squads are. Now, this is the view from the hetzer. It's waiting for the archer to walk by. And here's the view from the infantry as the archer comes in. The archer, for all it knows, thinks the hetzer might actually just be a werewillow tree signal being distorted by the nearby buildings, or it could be an air car from the Star League era, or who knows what. But it certainly does not expect a battle. For gameplay purposes, the archer automatically loses the initial initiative on round 1. The hetzer has a 3-4 pilot. The archer has a 5-6 pilot, and the SRM jump platoon is a 4-5, not a 4-8. Now let's review the combatants. First, we'll start with the hetzer. This is an ideal short-range melee type vehicle. It just has this powerful AC-20 that's meant for short-range point-blank shooting. It's ideal for this situation. We also have other notable features, such as the lack of a turret and the 4-6 cruising speed. This will not give the hetzer an advantage in maneuverability. We do have a significant level of armor, which you can tell by the right side diagram and the armor bubbles. So we do have quite a lot of punishment that we can take. And with 30 points in the front and 22 on the sides. Now note with the older vehicle rules from Compendium, vehicles are more fragile than they are with Total Warfare rules. Now, our other combatant is the ARC-2R Archer. You can see 1477 battle value 2. It's fairly heavily armored, as you can tell. Normally this would be more than a match for the hetzer, but we're going to have a green pilot. And also the range is going to be too short for its LRMs, so it's going to be stuck using only its 4 medium lasers, 2 of which are rear mounted, which may not get any use. The Archer does have some powerful weaponry, though, even though it's been nerfed from its LRM-20s at point-blank range. And that is, it's got powerful legs. As a 70-ton mech, it'll do 14 points of damage per kick. That's just completely insane and will just devastate anything that it hits. That's almost like an AC-20 shot. Also, the Archer has, because of its high tonnage, some fairly powerful punches that it can do with its fists. And because it has 2 fists, it also will be good at swatting off any troopers that try to climb onto it. However, its lasers, forward-pointing lasers, are mounted in the arms, so it can't punch and shoot at the same time. And its final tactically significant feature is its speed. Although it's a fairly large mech, it still has a reasonable speed. It's not an assault mech, it's on the heavier end of the heavy mechs. And it's a 4-6 walk run, which is equal to the Hetzer. Now we'll have to remind ourselves of the rules for infantry and vehicles. As you can see, there's the range modifiers, physical attacks against infantry on the down there in the target infantry. It's basically harder to hit. There's hit locations for vehicles using the total warfare rules. There's the criticals and motive hits. Here's the criticals table. This is good to just have here to remind everyone how the rules work. These are the conventional infantry. We're going to be using jump SRM infantry effectively. So here the SRM range, -1 for point blank range, so you get a bonus if you're in the same hex. So again, we are going to be focusing on an elite SRM infantry, so it'll be better than average score. That's the effects of, you see it's divided by 10, so direct fire does not affect infantry very well. Now this scenario is actually designed to be played in either 6mm or 25mm, and you're going to first see the 6mm battle, and later you will see a 25mm version of the same battle. This is also why the strange map shape, you cannot leave the 2 roads on the left or on the right side on the 6mm map, because otherwise it would not fit into the Battletroops 25mm map streets.